Well, it's not just free college and free health care. Some 2020 Democrats are promising voters free cash. Cory Booker wants to give federally funded savings accounts to every child when they're born. And Andrew Yang is promising Americans $1,000 a month. Kamala Harris is calling for massive tax credits worth up to $6,000 a year. But it turns out these policies don't work as promised. Surprise, for example, New York City businesses are struggling after hiking the minimum wage to $15 an hour. So, Greg, the great economist Milton Friedman said that if the government was in charge of the Sahara Desert, they would eventually run out of sand. They think there's money for everyone and that we're going to pay for it. What do you think about their latest cash push?
The great thing about capitalism is that it can allow for a little bit of socialism, right? It's called a safety net. Safety net is a bit of socialism. You're giving something to people who need something. The problem with these candidates right now is they see the socialist part as a replacement for the engine of creation of wealth. Therefore, you can never... It's like they think that you can have the life preserver without the lifeguard. But the lifeguard throws the life preserver out there. So the thing is, capitalism plus safety net, awesome. Socialism as the safety net, Venezuela.
But, Jesse, doesn't the socialism part, just a little bite, eventually take over the entire system? Because it becomes a situation where the government and these politicians say they're going to give you money, but that means they're taking money from other people in order to give you $1,000 a month or the tax credit that you want.
Well, yes, socialism, they say it's to take care of you, but they're really just trying to take control of you. Because if everybody depends on the government for everything, health care, a house, a job, a college, then there's no room to breathe. And you have to then vote for the party in power, because that's who's giving you all of your lifestyle at that point. And then when the socialists take control, they destroy their opposition. That's what socialism does. Once the socialists take power, it creates a permanent ruling class, and then they can get rid of oil and gas. They can get rid of the borders. They can get rid of capitalism. They can get rid of religion. They can get any obstacle. And you've seen it happen right now, because if you oppose socialism, they will dox you. They will censor you, and they will boycott you. And that's a threat. But to Greg's point about the safety net, some of the greatest inspirational creations and innovations have come from people that, you know, maybe were living paycheck to paycheck and maybe took a risk here because they wanted to lift themselves up and maybe not sleep on their friend's couch. And that's how American entrepreneurship works, is because people go out there on a limb and maybe borrow some money or raise some money or put all of their money into one pot and say, this is all I have because I believe in this idea so true. And then that's when you build wealth. And if you have socialism, you don't get that. People are too comfortable.
You know who has a story like that? Howard Schultz.
He does.
Founder of Starbucks, grew up in the Brooklyn housing projects, and now he's a billionaire. But Donna, in the last debate, we definitely saw this rift on display between Democrats who still believe in a justifiable small safety net for people who need it, and then people like Andrew Yang and Cory Booker and Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders who really want to give away everything based on policies they say will tax the rich.
Well, you know, clearly I listen to these debates and I say, that's an interesting proposal. I don't look at these debates and say, my God, this is a socialist. I see what I see is a country struggling to figure out, one, how to make sure that every American get a head start and a healthy start in life. Two, how do we ensure that every American, not just those who are wealthy and well off, have an opportunity to have a fair shot at the middle class. And then lastly, you know, when we spend government money, the deficit is now up 39%. We know spending is up. We know that corporate tax receipts are down. We know a lot about, Greg and I were talking in the green room today about the tariffs and how we want to get into a big, large conversation about China and the tariffs. But when Democrats propose these ideas, and once upon a time, Republicans used to propose ideas that people thought was off the quote-unquote chain. Nixon created the Environmental Protection Agency. I can tell you a lot about George Bush and Ronald Reagan. We don't have enough time. But when Democrats propose these ideas, they're trying to find ways to level the playing field. And while it makes certain people uncomfortable, I supported and worked for Al Gore and Bill Clinton, who brought the deficit down, who tried to pay for everything. I'll listen to Democrats who come forward with ideas that they can pay for. Not simply to give away, but if we can pay for it, it's an idea that we should see if others support.
Dana, it's been interesting to see that there are government, private-public partnerships when it comes to some of these programs, right? So the Trump administration has done a lot on jobs, private-public partnerships. Those are things that maybe
well, that was how they were hoping to get an infrastructure bill done, too, but then there's opposition to that. But I think that the bottom line is no one thinks that they're going to lose an election by promising to spend more money. Right. It just depends on how you're going to spend the money. And we know that we need to do something about Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security going forward. There are ways to do that where the bite wouldn't be too much, but you could preserve that program for a long time. No one is talking about that right now because it's a political loser. And the other thing is, just remember, the majority of people in America are fiscally liberal and socially conservative. It's not the other way around.
Right. People think it's the other way. It's not. But Dana is here to tell you the truth. So